Welcome to the Respectfully Great podcast. I am your host, Johnny Reed, and today we have a wonderful episode scheduled. I am pumped. I hope you are pumped. I am ecstatic. Hope you are ecstatic. More importantly, I hope you are at peace. That's the number one component, right? Ultimately, we are able to change how we feel, how we move. Our moods may change day in, day out, moment to moment, second by second. But ultimately, if we are able to be at peace with oneself, everything else that's interchangeable, this will stay constant with our emotions, right? Just making sure that we are in a place to where we be able to set oneself, and no matter what's thrown our way, we be able to handle and be able to overcome. So ultimately, I want to do a wellness check. Let me know how you are feeling today, whether it's right now, whether it's months ago, whether it's a few moments ago. I just want to know how you're feeling today, because this is very, very important for us to understand how we are feeling and be able to approach this from an open and honest perspective. So if I were to go, I would tell you that I'm at peace, right? I'm still pumped. I'm still ecstatic. I'm still enthusiastic. But ultimately, I am at peace. Why? It's because I'm able to set oneself. And ultimately, I want all of us to get to a place in our lives, no matter what woes we may go through, no matter what obstacles we may come up against, we are able to accept self. So please let me know down in the chat. Let me know how you are feeling. Let me know where your mindset is at. Let me know what's going on, because I think it's very, very important for us to come together as a collective and be able to share some of these sentiments around how we are feeling, because our emotions play a very, very huge part. And once we be able to have some level of emotional intelligence, we be able to overcome, still be able to be forward thinking, be able to be progressive in our approach, be able to curate, be able to create things in our lives to have a better fulfilled future. So ultimately, I want to know how you guys are feeling, because it's important to me. And I think it's important for all of us to be able to confront who we are in those moments. And I think that that's very, very powerful when we're able to look oneself in the mirror. So please let me know how you are feeling in the chat in due time, right? How about like right now? Let me give yourself a round of applause and be open and honest with yourself. Yes, yes, yes. That's the vibe, man. That's the vibe that we on today. We are going to get through some things. I think it's very, very important. This segment right here was really, really inspired by simply me going out and having dinner the other night. Shout out to Lizzie. Went out to dinner. Went out, have a good Asian cuisine. It was wonderful. It was great. It was very it was cool, calm, collective, but also it was one of those situations where um I was able to have a lot of realizations, right? I was able to observe, see things around me, and be able to evaluate. In those moments, right? I came up with this topic right here because I think it's a very, very important um tool that we could utilize and be able to analyze who we are, where we are in those moments. Oh man, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Let me tell you so many more things that inspired this podcast right here. Um, Simply opening up a fortune cookie inspired this whole podcast episode. And there's so many wonderful things that we're going to be able to expound about, be able to evaluate, be able to come to grips with, be able to get up out of that shadow, be able to, you know, take down that giant, be able to be forward thinking, be able to be progressive, be able to be goal oriented. All of these things were inspired by this one act that that allow oneself to see past that moment and say, you know what, there's so many great things that will amount to in the future. So this right here is going to be very, very thought provoking. I am happy, man. I am pumped. I really, really want to get going before we get all the way down the rabbit hole, right? Let's put out the title, right? The title is Mistakes Turned into Fortune. Mistakes turned into fortune. Oh man. How many of us have gone through mistakes? How many of us have seen mistakes? How many of us think, you know what? Hey, I done that thing right there. That's not the right thing. And I'm just still, sitting in my sorrow. I'm still in that place where I can't get myself up out of, right? I can't find a way to get that willpower to start to do things that's leaving that old mindset behind. It's a challenge. I've been there. I go through these things day in, day out, periodically. But I found very, very keen ways, very, very unique ways, very, very attainable ways to get out of these situations. And it's all about our perspective. It always comes back home to it always comes back home to our perspectives, how we think, how we interact, how we treat ourselves, how we treat others. All of these things matter. How we build up these ecosystems around us, how we build up the alliances, how we build up those trusted advisors, like my brother Floody Jews say. Shout out my brother Floody Jews, man, killing the game in real estate. My brother Ronnie Ruggiero killing the game, and Carlene killing the game in real estate. I got a lot of real estate friends that's out there doing their numbers, and they out there killing the game in that aspect, being able to provide homes not only for themselves but as a business model, but also doing for other people and changing their lives. So shout out to my real estate goers out there, man, and everybody else that's out there in their field of expertise doing their thing and to be able to, um, push the economy forward, push humanity forward, provide doing acts of servitude, right? I think those are beautiful attributes that we all can attain in our lives and be able to do at various points in our lives, no matter what field of expertise that you are in. And I really want to own into that thing today. I think that everybody has a unique approach and has a unique ability and has very, very unique skill sets that will allow oneself to be different than other people, but also be able to attain the wealth and the fulfillment and be able to be at peace when they go out there and they just becoming, when they become the person ideally that they are wanting to show up as in this real world, right? So I'm thankful, appreciative. I want to give that caveat all the time. Always make sure that we give the praise to the Most High, also be able to be aware of what's going on and around us in those moments, being present. That's one of the things I've learned about simply even going out the other day, just be able to be present. Oftentimes we are there but we're not there, right? Physically we here, mentally we elsewhere. And sometimes those are the things that actually lead us astray from really attaining our goals, because we're not really goal oriented in that moment. We're not really focused in and owning in those moments to be able to have the most impactful impact, right? It's going to be it was a realization. It's going to be a great episode, ideally, but um having that realization for oneself, I think is very, very important. And I learned so many things of a simple act of just getting some grub, right? Feeding the tummy, right? Feeding those urges of hunger, right? Not really starving, but I'm just saying, as far as being able to feed the tummy and be able to get that fuel to do what we're doing in those moments, right? Food is a key necessity in order for survival. So while I was feeding my survival, feeding that survival aspect of oneself, there's so many things that transpired in that moment, that one simple act. And I really, really want to share this with us today, because I think that we all have sentiments around it that we can relate to, right? Everybody here has to survive off of, you know, feeding their tummy, but not only feeding their tummy, feeding their mind, feeding their spirit. How are we coming together and being able to do these things from a perspective of being transparent with oneself, also aligning ourselves with the right people, places, and things that will get us further along on our journeys, right? Um, yes. I know I'm talking. I'm happy, right? I'm at peace, but I'm also um, looking and seeking more challenges in one's life, and I think that all of us come to these points in our lives where we start to look and evaluate things. I think every day is a moment for us to have some perspective. Every day we have thoughts, perspectives, ideas about, what's going on in your life as well as going on in other people's lives. Sometimes we could be so far engulfed in other things, not really focused on what's going on with us, and we miss out. And I think that's a sad thing that we experience. Nothing that we can't bounce back from, but it happens so often, and we keep looking around and asking ourselves, why? Why am I here? Oh, I've done that thing mistake there. How am I still living in that sorrow, that pain? How can I uprise and overcome and actually be an overachiever in these areas where I feel I'm getting drowned out in? We could do that if we start to tunnel vision our focus. Get really, really tunnel vision with our focus. And then those things are all possible. Because we think it takes an immense amount of work. It's going to take work, but not that difficult if we be able to draw our attention to the things that we say that we want, right? It says, what was the uh how it goes? Somewhat it was a um it'll come to me, but it's simply that, right? Um I don't want to do a disservice of not being the person that I say I am, and people people looking for me, you, whoever, to be that personnel, to show up as that thing, and we doing a disservice to them and ourselves because we're not really. Oh, this here's the quote. Um, I don't want to play with things that I want people to take me serious for. I know it's come to me. I'm trying to wiggle my way around it, but it's simply that, right? I don't want to play with the things that I want people to take me serious for. And I think that's a powerful quote when we are on our journey and we going through life and we experiencing things. A lot of times we can be led astray, and people have that faith and that belief, and we have that faith and belief in oneself. But sometimes that could dissipate because we start dealing with that imposter syndrome and we feel like we're not doing our due diligence. And we want to make sure that we're always on course, right? Sometimes it's okay to take some steps back, to reevaluate, to pivot, to find out what direction we still want to go in, and be able to be convinced about that, right? Know true in heart that this is who I am, this is what I'm curating, this is what I'm going to build, and not allowing the distractions to take you off course. Signal to noise ratio, as Steve Jobs would say, right? And Kevin O'Leary, signal to noise ratio. So what I'm simply saying is that I want us to really get tapped in and evaluating who we are, where we are, and where we are designing and desire to go. Right? Oh man, let's get it. 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 Um, let's kick this off right here with this. Right? Um, Imagine opening a fortune cookie and finding a message so powerful that it completely changes how you see life. What if the greatest fortune you've been searching for isn't hidden in the future, but buried inside your past mistakes? Today, we're going to uncover how embarrassment can become wisdom, failure can become direction, and regret can become one of the most valuable teachers you'll ever meet. By the end of this conversation, you'll see that your mistakes less as penalties and more as clues guiding toward the life only you can create. Oh man, I rub my hands together like Birdman. This is the Birdman. This is the Birdman hand rub, right? Man, I'm telling you, today's going to be really great. It's gonna be. Oh man, I can't even, express the sentiment behind this. I feel super static. We jumping right into it. Jumping right into it, right? The fortune cookie theory. Let's think about it. What if every mistake came with the fortune inside it? What if every mistake came with the fortune inside of it? But most people throw away the message and only focus on the broken cookie. Well, let's evaluate that. Let's evaluate that. Imagine that, right? Imagine open up a fortune cookie. You throwing out the cookie, right? Well, you open up the cookie, you keep the cookie, throw away the message. You're throwing away the message, right? What if every mistake came with the fortune inside of it? But most people throw away the message and only focus on the broken cookie. The message. See, a lot of times systems have to be broken. And when these systems are broken, we only focused on the aspects of it being broken. Not looking at the whole message of saying, hey, this right here is opportunity. This is what I need to be focused on, and to reroute, to rechange, to actually open up those other portals to more greatness in my life. But I'm stuck here in this pitfall of worry, troublesome, trauma, pain, hurt, discomfort, fear of fear of having fear of failure, right? Fear of success, fear, false evidence appearing real. Some people fear failing, right? We talked about this the other day. Most people not really, actually, people not really fearful of failing. They fearful of letting other people see them fail, right? A lot of times in private, we can take those bumps and bruises on the chin, right? Scrape the knee up a little bit. It's okay when nobody sees it. But we're so afraid to fail in front of other people, fall flat on our face because we think of that embarrassment. Some people say, you know what, I'm very skilled in this one thing. I know I can excel in this thing. So you know what? I'm not really going to apply myself because I know it comes with a different level of responsibility. And I actually might be good at this, and I actually might be a success. People fear that as well. So they underachieve. They don't put all of their energy into doing what's necessary in order to get them to those next levels, even though they already possess the innate ability to do so. Fear, false evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's not real. We letting this anxiety come in front of us of us being fulfilled. We letting the words and thoughts and perspectives of other people, places, and things to stop us and deter us from becoming the best versions of ourselves. Today, we want to break down those myths. Today, we're going to actually open up that fortune cookie. We're gonna keep the message inside of it. Most people just focus on the broken cookie. Let me eat this cookie right here. Instant gratification. People worry about the thing that we can get right there in that moment, but not really focus on the long-term benefits of really owning into that message. To really look at that message. There are many, many messages in life, even in the failure, even in the turmoil, even in the failed X, Y, and Z friendships, relationships, job opportunities, business ventures, financial woes, educational things that we keep saying that okay, there's a barrier here. These mental blocks. There are abundance of things that's keeping us pinned down to the ground. We want to shake that off. We want to be able to uprise and say, those mental barriers, we're breaking them down. No longer am I going to be bound in bondage by things that don't suit me for the near future. No longer I'm going to be bound in bondage to things that don't suit me for me being the best version of myself. We breaking down those myths today. We open up this fortune cookie and we're going to read that message. Not only are we going to read this message, we're going to see the message. We're going to see this message, then we're going to act on this message. Sight. We seeing what's going on. We evaluating what's going on. We speaking these things. Okay, we know what I see what's going on. I'm gonna speak this out loud. I'm gonna make it known because if I make it known, now I'm held accountable. Accountability is attached to it when I make it known. So now not only do I see the message, I'm going to open up the message. I'm going to read the message. I'm gonna make myself accountable. And then after that, from that point, I'll be actionary in my approach. I'm going to take action from that point. Ooh, let's go. Let's go. Most people experience the mistake, the pain, the embarrassment, but they never extract the lesson, the wisdom, the adjustment, the opportunity. The fortune was always there. The fortune was always there. Your fortune has always been present, but most of us overlook the message. We overlook, hey, you know what? This is a troubling time. What should I be learning in this moment? What level of wisdom can I acquire in this turmoil, in this troubling situation? Because we know that there's always two sides to everything. But we choose to focus on the cup being half empty, pessimistic mindset, not an optimistic mindset. The fortune was always there. How about we go to the first lesson, right? Or the first message. If you were to open up a fortune cookie, which we have here, I want to bring up on the stage. How about we read this out loud, right? Lesson number 1. You see the fortune cookie. We open up this fortune cookie. There's a message inside. Your pain arrives carrying information. Whew. Your pain has arrived carrying information. What does that mean? That means that in everything that we experience, say the pain, just highlight the pain. There's a message that's being carried within your pain. See, most of us focus on the physical aspect, the mental aspect of that pain, right? And we say, I'm physically drawn down, mentally drawn down. There's some barriers that I just can't get over, some barriers that I just can't overcome. I'm so drawn down in this moment about this thing right here. And we don't understand that in that pain, there's a message, there's information, there's data that you can extract from that pain. It's carried to you from that pain. It's actually embedded within that painful situation. There's a message within it. See, let me just give you an example, right? On and off topic. I was playing sports at one point in time in my life. Had had one of those moments where I had to kind of face my fears. I was injured in the process. I actually injured my shoulder during this act of a tackling drill, but there was a valuable lesson within that drill, right? I learned to actually confront my fears. I seen this big, massive man. Shout out to Charles McCullough. He passed. Rest in power. I gave this story many times because it's one of my favorite stories, one of my most memorable moments because I learned so many things of who I was in that moment. And it's a shared experience that I had with my brother, rest in power, that I would never forget. In that moment, I had to rise to the occasion, fight or flight. I chose to approach the situation head on, no matter how big the giant looked in my eyes in that moment. I also got injured during that process. But one valuable lesson in the pain that I actually took with me for the rest of my life is that it's not the pain is only a temporary thing. The pain is only a temporary feeling, emotion in that moment. Because no longer at this day and age do I feel that pain. What I do remember from that situation is how I rose to the occasion. There was a message within that pain. What I learned in that moment, just being able to confront my fears of seeing a massive man, me being a short man in stature, not as big, not as meat on my bones, I figured out, hey, am I going to fight or flight? I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to prove to my peers that was on the football field. I wanted to prove to myself that I was really that I'm ready for the next levels, and I wanted to prove to myself, no matter how big, tall, small, I'm willing to face anybody in that moment to go out there and represent of who I am as a person, who where my heart stand at. Long story short, I end up going through that motion, end up getting myself injured. But one thing that I carry with me today, because there was a pain in that message, I carry with me today to be able to confront my fears. Pain is only temporary. What I'm simply saying is that this right here in lesson number one, your pain arrives carrying information. Every situation that you go through that may be painful, there's information, there is data that you can extract that is the most important. And we want to be able to focus in and say, you know what? Hey, although there's some things that's not going my way today, what do I need to learn today within that? What can I extract from that? And how would this suit me for a better tomorrow? Right? It's powerful. Man, I love that. I love that. Every mistake is a messenger. The failed relationship teaches you boundaries. The lost job teaches you preparation. The failed businesses teach you adaptation. The wrong decision teaches you discernment, better decision making. That's what happens when we out there when we making some mistakes. It's okay to go through motions and not have all of the answers. Most of us look for the rule book. Most of us look for the map, right? Oftentimes we have to find our own coordinates. We have to go through life and say, you know what? Hey, I need to be my own testimony at times. I would love to learn from other people's mistakes because I think that's another part of shared wisdom, being able to learn from things around us, learn what's going on in nature, learn from other people, learn from other environments, see how people cohabitate together, see how to work with one another, not having that egotistical mindset that's put in front of me and saying, you know what, it's all about me, mine, and me. It's some more of me, being able to say, you know what, how can I work with other people because I know there's a bigger agenda at stake. I know that me having self-preservation, the first law of nature, me preserving oneself is a key component in order for survival. But after that, how do I group up and be able to link with other people? How can I unify? How can I come together and build up community, build up coalition, build up a tribe, build up people, and build up a one track minded mindset in order to get us to and from, or being able to follow a code and conduct with an agenda. Am I able to do such? Do I have the levels of discipline? Those things I taught. You'll be able to learn to do those things once we start putting ourselves around these places or environments, or being able to say, you know what, I want to carry out that same type of thought mindset mannerisms because I know I can be responsible enough to do such. Because I know if I'm able to follow code and conduct, the people that's around me that's able to do the same, follow code and conduct, they be able to amount to so many great things. On another topic, don't let me jump too far down the rabbit hole. But I was watching some segment today with this young man on Instagram, and the child was homeschooled, and he was just talking. He was so passionate about his desires. He's a young chef, but he was homeschooled, and he said, you know, most people think about being homeschooled, you miss out on being able to communicate with others. You miss out on being social, right? You miss on that social life. And he said, well, let me tell you something. And it really was about cleaning. He was really talking about teaching younger children how to clean. I thought that was profound, right? Being able to be responsible and say, hey, I know how to take out the trash and take out the garbage. I know how to clean behind myself. I know how to, you know, look out for other people and look out for a space that I occupy with other people. I thought it was super, super profound. But when he was talking, he was saying that he learned that he can go into other places, build other relationships outside of just the scholastic and school environment, and still be have a powerful social life and build different alliances with people that have with people that have shared sentiment, right? So he was saying that he learned how to go and build with other people in the martial arts setting, right? He does karate, so he said he went and he does karate, and he said he built friends in his karate class. He said he does cooking, he builds friends around his cooking environment. So there was different places where he learned how to show up as himself, but also know how to build with other people. And I think that's a very, very, very key thing when we're saying that we want to experience having that same type of mindset and being able to unify. We first have to show up with us being convinced of who we are and knowing where we want to go. And the way you do that is by applying yourself. We don't have all of the answers. And at times it may feel confusing, but you have to trust oneself and say, is this what I really want? Ask yourself, do you really want this? And actually show up and be responsible in your approach, and then being able to take that same type of character and mindset and go into these different places and share that same sentiment with other people that say that they are serious about the things that they are serious about, and they're not showing up as playing with the things that they want themselves to be serious about, and what they want other people to take them serious for. So I think these are very, very powerful tools. Watching simply that young man of how he approaches life, it gave me insight on what I need to do with some of the things in my personal life, and my business life, and my relationship life, and my friendship life, and my business. I have to be at one with these things that I say that I want to hold near and dear to my heart. I have to understand the finances. I have to get married to the finances and understand that, hey, this is a relationship. How do I treat my finances? How do I treat my well-being? How do I treat my health? I have to go in these different places and environments and being able to show up and say, you know what? Am I bound by, am I wedded in, right? Do I have the ring on and say that I'm married to my mission? Am I married to the cause? Am I married to my responsibilities? That's what I learned from watching that young man saying that, hey, I'm gonna teach younger individuals, younger kids, etc., how to clean. But in the midst of him talking about that, he showed all of the other endeavors that he actually has himself within. And I thought it was just super, super profound. Beautiful, beautiful thing. Right. Um, how about we go into lesson number 2? Pop this up, right? The obstacle was never blocking your path. It was building it. The obstacle was never blocking your path. It was actually building it. Think about that, right? Most of the time we go through obstacles. We go through things in our lives and say, you know what? I have to find a way to get around this situation. Do I go around it? Do I go through it? Do I wait for another form of transportation to get to hitchhike a ride? What do I do in this moment where there are obstacles I have to figure out? This is where we come up against this and we say, am I going to be defeated in this approach? This is where we learn in our lesson number 2. Open up the second fortune cookie. We say to ourselves, the obstacle was never blocking your path. That thing, that hurdle that was in the way was never blocking you. It was actually there and placed in front of you to build you up. It was actually building the path, building the road. I was watching, some track stars, right? I was watching some individuals run on the track. So there was one individual that ended up falling down uh on his track meet, right? So he ended up falling down on his track meet as he running, boom, 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 boom. He ended up falling down. He ended up picking himself back up, fell way behind in the race, and actually came in first place after regaining himself, regaining his confidence, and gave nothing but concerted effort all the way through the race. And he ended up coming out victorious and being number 1. That fall down was only an obstacle. It wasn't in his way. It was just one obstacle. He was actually building himself right back up to say, am I determined enough? Am I willing to go out there and sacrifice enough? Am I willing to go out there and challenge oneself enough? He proved that to himself, and the world was there to witness it. The world was there to actually witness it. But he was proving to himself, if I say that I'm out here and I'm on a mission, I'm not going to stop. I'm not letting nothing that's in my way, obstacles or not, stop me from becoming victorious, getting to the finish line. That's what he had done. He let nothing get in his way. That was actually building him up. So now doing his future endeavors, no matter whether somebody do a streaker comes, runs across the track, he falls, somebody drops the baton, he's way back in the line. That right there was proven to him throughout the rest of his life. Not only with that race, any other thing that he has going on in his life that may look like an obstacle, he understands now that only thing it is just something that's in the way, and it's actually building me up. It's nothing that's going to stop my approach and getting me to and from. That was just one obstacle, but it's not determining. It's not going to determine the future outcome, because I know that in this moment, that's only an obstacle. That's not the determining factor of where I'm going to end up. And I thought that was super, super powerful, just running on the track and falling down, picking himself back up just to become number one. There's so many things that we can take and learn throughout life about who we are and where we are. And these are the moments where we able to reflect on them. So when we going through troubling times, we go through pain, we go through obstacles. Don't look at these things as permanent positions or permanent factors that's going to determine the outcome for the rest of our lives. If we choose to say that this right here is going to stop me, then it will stop you. But if you say this right here is the building block, this is the bridge, this right here is the vehicle to get me to and from, this right here is making me build up that character. I'm character building right now. I'm building up my endurance because I know that this is a long run. Right now, this is one situation, one of many. I was watching something the other day with Coach Lucky. Shout out to Coach Lucky. Before he said something that's super, super profound. He said before he even came to the internet to start to teach, to start to share his light and his wisdom, he said, I was doing this about 20 plus something years with no cameras around. And I thought to oneself, he said that rain, sleet, hail, snow, tired, wide awake, sick, not perfect conditions, no matter the situation, act from his act of obedience over sacrifice, he was able to show up and commit to the mission. 20 semi years in the game before the cameras came on. So when I thought to myself, longevity, am I in this for the long haul? I was watching one other gentleman, right? He's a runner, right? How ironic. This guy is 70, 70, almost 80, I think, almost 70 something or 80 something years old. Long story short, for the past 30 years, he ran every day, no matter whether it was rain, sleet, hail, snow, tired, sick. One time he even said that he had caught pneumonia. He ended up going into the hospital. And the very next day, he still was on that same mission with ammonia and all. Now, as a disclaimer, I don't tell people to go out there and put themselves in harm's way. But you know what that man said is no matter what the conditions are, from his act of obedience over sacrifice, he's willing to show up and do the job. So for 30 years, that man has got up every day and ran a mile every day. Right now, I think his mile run or what's I think his mile run is 4 times around the lap, 4 times around the track. But he said that I think this day and age it takes him, because of his age, it takes him about 40 something minutes or something between running, walking, jogging, etc. But long story short, he's committed. 30 years committed. Coach Lucky, 20 some years before the cameras came on, and been doing this God knows how long since, but never missing a day. That's the level of commitment. What I'm saying is that there's no obstacle that could come in your way when you got that level of commitment. There's no pain, even when you got the ammonia, even when he caught the ammonia. No level of pain is going to stop when you are committed to the mission. So when I see these other examples and I say to myself, hey Johnny, are you committed? I see other examples out there that are really, really committed to the mission. And I say to myself, I want to have that same level of commitment. So no matter rain, sleet, hail, snow, tired, sick, etc., I want to show up and do the job. because I know that I can, but I know it takes every day, like James Clear said, that to develop the habit, you have to do it every day. Once you stop it, it's no longer a habit. So I want to build up good habits of saying that I'm able to be diligent in my approach because I want to prove to oneself and I want to let the world watch as well. But I want to prove to oneself, do I have that level of discipline? Am I that committed? Am I a personnel that say, I'm a man or woman of their word? Can I say that my word is my bond? That whatever I put my word on, I'm actually going to fulfill and complete. I witness it with other people. And these are some of the things I want to bring into my life as great examples. Because I know that in order for them to be great, that's the type of mindset that they had to carry out, which they are great. In order for me to be great, I had to adopt the same type of philosophy and be able to carry out the same type of process. Being able to be responsible as a young man said, just a young chef, and the kid that was going to that's done the homeschooling, he committed to his approach. He committed to his mission. He's a chef, but he said, you know what, man, I'm not stopping. This is what I'm doing. I'm learning how to be responsible very early on in my life. And he's actually giving tips on how he became responsible and showing how younger the younger generation and younger kids and the youth can actually adopt some of his same philosophy so they can be productive, responsible young women and men in this world that we living in today. So I use all of these things as examples in order for me to build me up because I don't want to have the excuses and having the pain and all these other things stop me from getting to where I need to get to. Because there are gonna be so many things thrown on our tracks, thrown on our roads, so many distractions that's pulling us away from the mission. So when I need to be focused on me, my focus and my attention is on somebody else and watching their life. But I can't get my life right because in present time, I'm too occupied with things that doesn't move the needle forward for me and mine. So where do I want to end up at? I have to block out the outside noise like those gentlemen do every day and say, I'm committed to the mission and get around like-minded individuals that's on the same type of time, or actually see them from a distance and from afar and say, you know what, I love what that person, him or her, is doing, and I want to be able to amount to the same things because I see that they're doing great things, just from the levels of commitment and discipline, and I want to be able to possess those same type of attributes. Powerful lesson in that one. We gain self-awareness, emotional intelligence, wisdom, character, perspective, resilience, patience, better relationships, and purpose when we all focus on um, having that fortune in that mindset of saying that, hey, I don't look at things as being a misfortune. No matter what these misfortunes are, I'm able to take this misfortune and turn it into something that's fortunate for me. All of those things can come from you turning on that on switch and that perspective to say, you know what, instead of focusing on the miss aspect or the misfortunes, I take off the miss and only worry about the fortune and understand that I'm a fortunate person and turn every situation into a fortunate one just through peer perspective. Powerful. Some people gain millions and lose themselves. Let me say that one more time. Some people gain millions and lose themselves. Others lose everything and find themselves. Which person are you? Which person are you? Do you have the millions and then get lost in the sauce? Have you lost everything and had to go and actually find yourself? Let me tell you, um, I will acquire millions, right? Throwing that out there because we don't deal with or already say I have million worth of love, patience, persistence, discipline. I have a million worth of that already, right? So I don't want to say that I lack in that area. But ideally, right? Being on both sides of those coins, I've seen what it can do to a personnel. There was one point in time when I felt I had lost myself, right? Very, very isolated. I was in solitude. Everything that ideally that loved me I even had those things in question. And the reason why is because I didn't love myself. So I had everything, even in the midst of the worst of times, and still felt like I had nothing. Right? And I lost myself in that moment. And there's times where I had nothing and actually found myself in those same situations. So I know what those things feel like. You may be in one of the two positions. You may have millions in one aspect, and then you may be lost in the sauce in another, depending on where our attention is at. You may have the finances, but you're losing yourself. You may have nothing or feel like you have nothing. And this is the moment where you start building up that character and becoming something. Just perspectives. It's just a seed that's planted that I want us just to evaluate. What do you think about it? The perception multiplier. The same event can create two completely different lives, as we just stated. The same event can create two completely different lives. Take a personnel, right? Let's use the first person. We'll call this person person A, right? Hypothetically, this is person A. I failed. What's a good what's a good here we go. We use this one right here. Scratch record. I failed what? They become a person that speaks like that. I failed. This is what they become. Bitter, defensive, fearful. That's what they become. Let's switch this over to personnel. We'll call this personnel B, right? This is their perspective. I learned. You know what that person becomes when they say, I've learned? Curious, resilient, adaptable, being able to be resilient, become curious, childlike curiosity, and being able to adapt. That's what I learned can get you. The other personnel is saying that I failed. The other personnel saying, I've learned. Which one do you desire to be? The one that harps on the failure and become bitter, becomes fearful and defensive in the process? Or do you say, oh, I've learned. I'm now resilient. I'm now adaptable. I am now curious and have childlike curiosity. Something to think about. Something to think about. Let's go to the third lesson, right? The obstacle was never blocking your path. It was building it. Oh, that's number two. Let's move, take off number two. Let's go number three. My mistake. People make mistakes, right? But I didn't fail. I've learned. I've learned. I've learned. Here we go. Lesson number three. Your next chapter requires a different version of you. Your next chapter requires a different version of you. What are we talking about? We are simply saying that the next phases that you're going to go through, that you're going to endure, it requires you to become something different than what you are now. It's going to require you to become something different than what you are now. We're not talking about complete change. We're saying that box that you were in, now we have to stretch that box and become something more resilient, more learned, more adaptable. That's who we have to become. We have to become that person now to say, I became the person, so now I can acquire the thing. That thing that you want to become. See, we talked about this last week. Opportunities pass us because we can't recognize them. Most opportunities are right there in front of us, right? But most of the time we can't recognize them because we haven't become the person. That next chapter of your life, the next phase of your life, you have to become something that you wasn't as of yet. But we start becoming that thing right now. See, they say when you want a particular thing, you start from the end and you work your way backwards. That's a powerful, powerful tool that I've learned, is that I work my way backwards from the thing that I say I want to have or acquire. So I'm already in possession of it right now. Whatever it is that I want, or whatever it is that I want to attain, I already see myself presently in it at this very moment. And then I work my way backwards to say, okay, what are the things I need to do to maintain this? Not to just go out there and get. I'm already in possession of it because my thoughts are already there. I act in accordance to what it would to what it would take in order to maintain that thing that I say I want to have. Give you an example. If I say I want to be a better personnel in my relationships, what do? I'm already an active, great person in my relationship. So I maintain great relationship. I maintain great relationships by doing what the relationship requires: open, honesty, truthfulness, transparency, loyalty. All of those things are embodied within it in order to maintain a healthy relationship with whoever. Friendships, being able to be committed, being a man or woman of their word, being able to be dependable, so people can look at you and say, "Hey, I can utilize that personnel because they're dependable. I can count on them." So what I do is I act on that in this very moment, whether or not nobody else is committed to it. I'm committed to it. I'm committed to my word being as my bond. So when I say something, I actually follow up and do it. When I see situations out there that I say, you know what, hey, the right thing is carrying out the good mannerisms. Let me hold the door for the elderly or for any other personnel for that matter, whether that person says thank you or not. I'm doing that from the act of obedience over sacrifice, saying that, hey, if I want to treat people equally all around the board and I want to be treated as such, I do that. I do the right thing no matter if somebody else is going to do it or not. I do the right thing whether someone else is going to do it or not in my book. So that's what it looks like when you say becoming, and that in the next chapter requires a different version of you. I already work myself backwards from that point of saying that, hey, I'm already in possession of that thing. If I already quote unquote call myself great at doing this and great at doing that, being a great communicator, being a great lover, being a great transparent, being a great business partner, being a great son, being a great brother, being a great colleague, being a great businessman, whatever these things and these titles that I put on oneself, I act from that position of already being in possession of it. I act from the position or of already being in possession of it. I already have that thing, so I act in accordance with it. That's what that looks like. Powerful, powerful tools we can use. Powerful tools we can use. How about this, right? Just let me just uh, put this thought out there. Life often responds to the meaning you assign to an experience. One more time. Life often responds to the meaning you assign to an experience. Let me break that down a little bit. See, our minds are very, very creative. The brain try to conspire to say that, hey, whatever your thoughts are, I'm going to work my best to make sure that that thing right there is true. So whatever way you associate an experience as being, your mind conspires to make that true. So be very, very conscientious of how we label these experiences. Man, I had the worst time in the world. You know what happens when you faced with that same window of opportunity? You already assigned a level of difficulty to that. And you already said that was the worst experience in my life. So what's going to happen every time you see that window of opportunity potentially? You're already going to shoot that window down, right? Because your mind's already going to negate that emotion, that feeling, because you already assigned something to that. You already written that out as a bad experience. So every time something looks similar to that, you're going to negate it. That's what happens when we respond to the meaning you assign to an experience. Life often responds. Life calls and say, you know what, I got a solution to that thing right there. That's a bad experience. I'm gonna make sure that's going to maintain in that same realm of bad experiences. We don't understand that the power of rewriting those stories and placing good value on those negative transpired things. When you say, hey, I went through troubling times, I find a way to find good in that bad turmoil situation, because I say, okay, who did I become during that pain, that hurt, that trauma, that abandonment, through that financial, or with the misfortune, where I thought, that misfortune actually really was a fortune. But during that misfortune, how do I turn that into a fortune? Okay, what level of discipline did I learn throughout that? Who was I? What did I learn? Who did I become in that moment? How did that affect me today? What decisions did I build up that level of discernment? Did I get wise? Did I get prudent from that situation? Fortune. So every time I go through these things in life, I find I'm very, very conscientious of how I label it, because your mind is going to conspire with you, not against you. Your mind is going to work with you and say, hey, you had a bad experience right there. I'm gonna make sure that everything you look that looks like that we're gonna make sure that that right there is going to look and sound like a bad experience. Terrible thing to do. Terrible thing to do. Because we can never find a silver lining within these things. So right within those situations, we will be taught subconsciously to avoid and negate. And that's some of the hindrances that we will undergo. Powerful. Let's switch it over to the fourth lesson, right? Open up this fortune cookie right here. Got some crumbs on the table. What embarrassed you yesterday may inspire someone tomorrow. Hello. Hello. Let's do it. Let's have some chimes for this one. It's when you have an epiphany, right? Woo. What embarrassed you yesterday may inspire someone tomorrow. They say, quote unquote, getting caught with your pants down, right? An embarrassing moment. Something that we say, I can never live this down. Don't understand that what you just done, you inspired somebody for tomorrow, because your level of courage, your level of discipline, you actually was able to say, you know what? Hey, although this thing right here looked like it was trouble, I fought my way through it. They sometimes they say today one step in mankind is I forgot how it goes. One step in mankind is a leap in humanity of faith or something. So I'm chopping it up. Bear with me. Bear with me. What we simply saying is that one person had to crawl so the next person could walk. That person that walked led the path so the other person that could run. Once the other person started running, the next person say, instead of running, I use another form of transportation. I might have to cycle. And then from there it goes. And then one take the bus, then one take the car, then the next person take the train, next one fly, other one is in a rocket. And before you know, they teleporting. But something had to come before you. So what we doing is picking up the baton where someone else left off of. So those things are inspiring. We've seen these other people in the personnel or things that's happening great in our society. And we say, you know what? I'm gonna pick up where they left off at. That's where some of the inspiration come from. This is where we get the downloads from. So understand that those moments of despair, those moments of uncertainty in your life, but when you have the courage to say, I'm gonna go through this no matter what the situation are, fearful or not, what you're gonna do is you're gonna inspire the next people that come behind you and say, man, look what he or she had done. Man, I know that was nerve-wracking. Man, it took every bone at their body for them to go out there and be accomplished. But look what they amounted to. Look what they led. Look what got that person for tomorrow. Look where they stand at now. And most people that honor and respect and they understand, pecking order, they understand giving the flowers to other people that came before them, honoring those people that already led those paths. All you doing is picking up the baton. You'll be able to see that. You are that same testimony. You could be that for your family. You could be that for your loved ones. You could be that for in breaking generational curses, no matter what they are. It don't have to be just financial, just breaking the generational curses of pain, hurt, trauma, doing the right things and saying, you know what? Hey, I know that us as a people have gone through some things, but let me be the first one in my family to go to therapy. Big step. Hey, we know we talk about, giving back, but let me actually find a way to go and help serve for real. Not just because the camera's on, or not just because I got my pockets are full today. Let me do this from an act of obedience, is being able to practice and learn the habit of giving. Jim Rohn said that if you help enough people get what they want, you eventually get what you want. Acts of servitude, being able to pay it forward. It don't have to be just financial. Pay it forward with your level of intellect and saying, you know what, I've learned from my mistakes, and make the necessary adjustments so the people that's coming behind you don't have to make the same mistakes. It could be simply in your decision making that will allow someone to get leverage off of your testimony. Don't have to be just financial. It could be breaking those generational curses, saying, you know what, I'm gonna be the first to go to college, or graduate, or find a way to be able to be self-sufficient and have my own business and do this and do that. Whatever it may be, you can break those curses. And then those people will be inspired by the path that you lay down, the bricks that you lay down. Don't ever short oneself of the act of what you can do every day. You may even downplay yourself. You may say, like, my contributions isn't enough, because we comparing ourselves to other people, which is a no-no. We're supposed to be comparing ourselves to the yesterday you. That's it. Because the path that you walk is going to be different than other people. What you have to go through today may be different than what somebody else had to go through. So somebody may have to go through something systemic. You may have to go through something just personal. So another person may have to go through something that's financial. Another person had to break down some of these walls and barriers, because it's nothing but feuding. There's people that infiltrate, right? You've seen people that one of the movies I like, is Matt Damon in them, is called Departed, right? And it's like a mob mafia movie, but the premise behind it is super, super profound. You had two opposing individuals. One person was working with the mob, other person was with law enforcement, but they swapped roles, right? And the person that grew up in law enforcement went undercover to go infiltrate the mob. The person that grew up in a mob environment learned and went and infiltrated the law enforcement. And this, what I'm saying is that, disclaimer, I'm saying the premise of the thought process is that sometimes in life, we have to go through the fire and the storm in order just to make it to the other side, to see what's going on. Because most of the times, if we just stay in our comfort zones, we never we won't have and gain perspective on what it would take in order to be out on the other side. And you don't know that on that other side of whatever that coin is, may be that freedom that leaves you from bondage, that breakaway, that break that generational curse. It may be that thing on the other side of that. And that comes with being able to think, being able to act, being able to see, being able to build up, being able to say, okay, that's an obstacle right there. It's not going to determine my future, nor is it going to determine how this race that I'm running is going to finish. Because I fell down, dropped the baton, that doesn't mean that I can't pick the baton back up and go out there and finish the race. That doesn't mean that. That means that this is just one obstacle of many that may come up during my life that I'm going to overcome. Because I was able to get past the other things by having that trust within oneself and being able to say, you know what, I can do this. I'm convinced enough. I'm reading these lessons. I'm opening up this fortune cookie, and I'm not just focused on the cookie. I'm focused on the message. That's where my driving attention is at. Focused on the message. And when we start to own in with oneself, start listening to oneself, looking oneself in the mirror, getting comfortable, becoming the person that you desire to be. Start presently from where you are and say, you know what? I'm already in possession of $1 million worth of fortune, $1 million worth of fortunate ideas, worth $1 million worth of fortunate wisdom. I'm already in possession of fortune. I'm already in possession of fortune. So no matter what the misfortunes that may come up and we associate with, we just told each other earlier that our mind don't know the difference. It's just try to conspire to make whatever we believe true. Our minds don't tell the difference. It's just try to conspire to make what we already believe true. So how we shape and perceive and put our perception out there is going to determine and affect the outcome on the back end. So if you want to be somebody that's out there, that's forward thinking and progressive, don't think of lack, don't think of limiting beliefs, don't think of not having. Think of or think in the terms of I already have in possession. I already obtain. I presently have. I have mindset. Not going to acquire in due time, already in possession of it. And we work from those parameters. Let's go to lesson number 5. We almost there, loved ones. We almost there, loved ones. If you are with us, put them thumbs up in the chat. Make sure you are with us. Share your sentiments, share your thoughts, share your perspectives. We highly, highly appreciate those things. Let me roll this over here real quick and put this up there. Just a good footnote, keynote, just so we are reminded. Lesson number 5, right? You were not rejected. You were redirected. You were not rejected. You were redirected. I love that right there. There was a podcast episode we talking about um Lost Without Coordinates, if I'm not mistaken, the title of it. But long story short, we was talking about mapping out those steps, being directionally right. Most of the times, right, we get thrown off course. It may be a misfortune, it may be a mishap, it may be something that's just taking us off course. And we don't understand that we wasn't we didn't come to a roadblock and being stopped. We just had to figure out there's another route that we need to take because the other routes that we were taking wasn't suitable for the mission. Those roadblocks, those things that had me stopped. And hey, you know what? When I was told no 100 times, all it did was redirect me to the point in the position of getting that one yes. And that one yes was worth all of the 100 no's because this one yes is going to surpass in the sense of being able to build up the confidence and being able to become the person that I need to be in order to get more sustained yeses. Although I'm going to experience a lot more no's, but it took 100 no's to get to that one yes. And that wasn't being stopped. I wasn't being rejected. I was only being redirected in that context. I was being redirected. Because when they kept saying no, 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 I had to get redirected to the yes. I had to get redirected to the yes. So when you get rejected, when people say, you're not qualified, you're not this, you're not small enough, you're not tall enough, you're not bright enough, your smile isn't this, hey, you don't come from this type of family, your finances is that, or hey, your intellect ain't there, you don't have this type of skill set, you didn't do it this amount of time, you don't have the tenure, you don't have this, ba 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 ba, and all those other misnomers that people try to place on us. Understand that those things are just redirecting the energy in the right place. And we don't have to hop on that rejection. That rejection meaning that this door right here, this entryway isn't for me. This entry point isn't for me. I have another way that I need to go. I have to switch my direction. I have to switch my direction. And that's all I'm doing right now is being redirected. Powerful, powerful tool. Powerful tool. I love that right there. I love that. I love that. I love that. And we want to talk about that, right? You weren't rejected, you were redirected. I love that. Let's go to the 6th one. We moving right along. We almost there, loved ones. We are almost there, loved ones. We are almost there. Let's go to number 6 really quick. Here we go. Number 6. The lesson repeats until the student evolves. Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah, I love that. The lesson repeats, right? Over and over and over and over again. Redundant. The lesson repeats until the student evolves. Evolution. Meaning that we have to become something different. We have to be able, one of the things, shout out to Coach Lucky. Coach Lucky dropped so many gems, man. He says sometimes we have to grow into things and then eventually grow out of them. This reminds me of that right there. The lesson repeats until the student evolves. The lesson repeats until the student evolves. That reminds me of Coach Lucky when he says sometimes we have to grow into things and then eventually grow out of them. We don't stay in the same position over and over again because the more and more that we learn, the more and more that we grow, the more and more that other doors and other opportunities and more things that's coming towards us that we need to go to another entry point. We have to go through another entry point. Sometimes we grow out of things. See, and be honest with you, how about this? We all were kids at one point in time. If you're a kid now, think about when you were a baby. If you were a baby and you say you were, say you 5, 10 years old right now, right? Even for the infants and for adults as well, right? You're 5, 10 years old. No longer do you drink from the bottle. No longer do we get warmed up milk and drink from the bottle. 5, 10 years old. Those are for the infants. So even us becoming adults with the things that I've done as a child, I no longer do. I had to outgrow that. Myron Golden gave a good analogy. Hey, do I give the 4-year-old the keys to the car and say, go to the store and get me the milk? Why don't you give a 4-year-old the keys to the car and tell them, go to the store and get the milk? First of all, they can't see over the steering wheel, right? They haven't became the person responsible enough to know where the store is, how to get there, have exchange for the money, come back home, be responsible, know the laws of the traffic, knowing what turns they need to make. They haven't acquired, they haven't became the person yet. So why are we expecting the 4-year-old to do what the 14 or 15-year-old need to do? They had to grow out of that stage in order to become the new person for the new growth. So the 4-year-old isn't ready to do that as of yet. But once they grow out of the youthful stage of being a 4-year-old, becoming 16-year-old and get their permit and being able to drive, then they could be the person now to go to the store and get the milk and come back home safe and sound. That's who we are as well. Understand that those things that happen in our lives is going to continuously repeat until we evolve. We can stay stagnant. We can stay on the milk, right? They can give us the milk and say, "Yeah, I don't want to put the milk down." Then you just be a big baby, right? But we also know that there's certain things in our lives we have to let go for new growth. Everything has seasons. The trees, when it's fall season, the leaves fall off the trees. And then during the winter, there's no leaves on the trees. And then when spring comes back around, you get new growth. You start to get new leaves, different trees and flowers start to bloom and blossom. New growth, shedding, letting go, so you can have new growth. Powerful tools. So we don't want to keep being redundant in some of our approaches that we need to learn, because if we keep doing the same mistakes and keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and not learning and not knowing how to evolve, we slowing up the timeline of where we need to be at. We could be further along our journey if we learn how to evolve and say, you know what, sometimes this is it's time and place for new growth. So sometimes those same conversations you don't need to carry out anymore because it doesn't suit you. Those same type of woes and vices that you have, sometimes had to let go of the gambling in order to get new growth in the area of being more financially astute. So I can't go blow the bag every day on betting on, you know, FanDuel or whatever these betting gaming sites are. I can't get caught up in the whirlwind personally. Just my own vice. But I'm saying that I'm aware of letting go of some things so some new growth can come in and new opportunities, new windows of opportunities. Powerful tools. Lesson 6. Now let's go to our last lesson, which is lesson number 7. Lucky number 7, right? Here it is. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You see those books over there. Peace, God, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Like lesson number 7. What you survive becomes part of what you teach. Whew. Testimony, testimony, testimony. Let me say that one more time. What you survive becomes part of what you teach. Man, shout out to Kirk Nugent, one of my coaches, right? Um, my brother was like, in the segment of, his teachings, is that when we learn how to communicate to other personnel, we learn from who we were and speaking from a point of contention of who we were once at one point in time in our lives. So this made me think of this very thing right here. What you survive becomes part of what you teach. The things that I've gone through, my turmoils, my trials, my tribulations, my pitfalls, my woes, my victories, my small wins, my big wins, my relationships, the failed attempts, the gained attempts, the cut through, learning how to cut through, cut corners, got snaked when I cut corners, took 10 steps back when I cut corners, gained some advantages when I did cut corners, or when I took the long route, the disciplinary things that I've learned when I gained in order to go the long route, the grueling hours, the marathon, the sprint. I learned it all from doing it all. All of those things that I've acquired and things that I've gone through, I now can teach because I was once there. I was once there. Your life from where you are, your experiences, the things you've seen, the things that you were taught, the things that you outgrew, the things that you grew into, then eventually grew out of, the things you still hold on to, your mannerisms, the people that you associate with, where you're trying to go, presently where you are at this very moment, your ups, your downs, the roundabouts, the routes that you choose to go, the forms of transportation you need to get there, the times that you stop oneself to say, I doubted the times I doubted myself, the imposter syndrome, the things that you felt like were too heavy, the things that you broke from bondage and actually got freedom from. All of these things are part of your testimony. All of these things are part of your story. Not only are they part of your story, that was part of your survival. They were part of your survival. Not only did you survive, now you can teach it. You are a teacher. You were once the student. Now you are the teacher. And now when we go into these new spaces, we are the student again until we acquire and level up with that wisdom. And then now we become the teacher. Interchangeable things. Student, teacher, student, teacher, student, teacher. Back and forth is interchangeable. Depending on what place you're going to, what room you're going to, you're going to be exposed to things that you've never seen or heard before. They're going to be some places that you walk into where you well experienced. And you may be the brightest and smartest in there from experience of your experience. So you may be able to speak to a core audience or core people from the things that you experience, the things you have gone through. That doesn't diminish the value of other people. Remember that doesn't diminish the value of other people because you have the experience. All it does is it shows that you have shared wisdom. You acquire the level of wisdom because you've been there. But that doesn't make you more or less than other people. It's just that you have a voice and you speaking from a point of expertise, from your truth. Power in that. So much power in that. We can gain and acquire so much from learning when to have this level of engagement and then sit back like the fly on the wall and listening. It's not about always speaking. Sometimes it's about the listening, knowing when to speak and knowing when not to. Very, very powerful too. Knowing when to insert oneself and knowing when to be reserved. Very, very powerful tools. This right here speaks to that. This right here speaks to that. What you survive becomes part of what you teach. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Open up these fortune cookies for messages. What's inside? We often eat the fortune cookie and we discard the message. All of the strength and power is in the message. Because what you become from that message and what you make out of that message determines the future. We talked about causes and effects. If you do this, then this will yield a certain outcome. Being able to have different levels of discernment along your journey and being able to be wise in your decision making. One decision leads to another. Sometimes it may take a step back, but out of the two decisions, making a better decision each and every time becomes wisdom, knowing when to apply it. That's what we gain, that's what we acquire. And we can constantly do this day in, day out by being wise in our approach and being able to utilize every tool around us to make better decisions. We don't want to repeat the same cycles to keep drinking that same milk when I'm 45 years old. I don't want to drink the baby's milk at 45 years old. I want to be able to say, give me the keys to the car. I'm responsible enough to go to the store and get some milk. I don't have to get mommy's milk. I don't have to wait to be told to do things. I can have some level of willingness to go out there and apply an application. I can go out there and do things for oneself. I can be responsible in that regard. But when we so codependent on making sure everybody else do our service, how do we ever gain the confidence to go out there and say that I can go out there and achieve? I could be responsible enough. I could be someone that people count on. We got to take on that level of ownership. If we say I want to be autonomous and I want to have that autonomy, right? And I can go out there and really be a personnel that's a forward thinker, someone of a leader caliber. What does a leader look like? Know how to lead, when to lead, know when to delegate, know when to utilize the people around them, utilize resources, know how to maximize and extract from the resources, knowing when to use different levels of discernment, having an eye ear for what's going on, being able to see things that haven't transpired yet, being able to hear that sounds like an opportunity, being able to be actionary, saying, you know what, I could take action today that's going to affect my tomorrow. When I listen and I watch these other individuals go out there and do wonderful things because they're so committed to the mission, it drives me, it fuels me. And I want all of us to have a piece of this in our world so we can be at peace with oneself. We can be fulfilled. We can be accomplished. We can be purpose driven. We can curate. We can create. We can do all of these things that could bring levels of fulfillment into our own lives. And we have the power to do so. We have the power to do so every day. And I don't want to short ourselves of any of it. I don't want to short ourselves of any of it. I want to short myself. I don't want to short you. I want to be able to gain more levels of understanding of how life works. I want to be able to break those generational curses that's happening within my own family, then what's going on in society, saying that, hey, we could break down these walls. Sometimes we build up these walls so high and we keep them up because there's a level of protection. But they also don't know, but we also don't know that it's also keeping us out of some things as well. As much as we build these walls up as a wall of protection, it's also stopping you from forward progression on what's going on the other side. So just be mindful of the duality of things. Be mindful of the yin, the yin and the yang, the yin and the yang. Understand there's two sides to everything, two sides of a coin. You flip, you flip, or you choose, or you decide, make a decision. Decision means cut off one. There's no other room for for nothing else. So I'm only looking at fortune. I'm not focused on the misfortune. And whatever looks like misfortune to other people, I'm gonna turn that into fortune based on my perspective, based on my ideas, based on my conviction. I'm convinced enough that right here, this is going to work no matter what the situations are, no matter what the numbers reflect, no matter what people may say, no matter what I met with, when no matter what obstacles I thrown in the way, what's on what's in the way blocking the track. There's a bear standing in my pathway. What do I do? I'm gonna go around. If I gotta fight the bear, man, pray for the bear. That too. You feel what I'm saying? If I gotta go fight the bear, man, pray for the bear. All I'm simply saying is that nothing's gonna get in the way, nothing's gonna stop me. And I don't want nothing to stop you. A lot of times we can stay confined in that position and say, you know, I'm gonna keep repeating the same process because I'm comfortable, I'm complacent, I'm content. I can stay right here. Your choice, your decision. But then when it's all said and done, we can't complain about where we are and where we aren't because every day you have a decision. The choice is yours to be or not to be. That is the question. That is the question. Man, how you guys feeling today, man? You guys with me? Hope you guys are with me, man. Hope you guys are with me. Yes, yes. Um, if we broke down the acronym, right? Really quick before we get up out of here. We almost out of time limit. It's the last segment right here. Fortune. This is what we do. Break down the acronym of fortune. F, find the lesson. F is for finding the lesson. O, own your role. Ownership. Ownership, responsibility. R, reframe the event. Reframe the event. Write a different narrative. Write a different story. Turn that misfortune into fortune. T, transform the lesson into action. Being an actionary person. Actionary. Transform the lesson into action. Let's go with the U. Understand the gift. Understand the gift. You are the gift. Understand the gift. Understand you. You are the gift. N. Navigate differently. Navigate differently. See the coordinates? Sometimes we have to reroute. It's not rejection, it's just rerouting. E. You got to evolve. Evolution. One step in mankind is a big leap in humanity, or something like that. I know I keep messing it up. I'm gonna find it out. I'm gonna get down to the bottom of it. I promise you. I'm gonna find out. One step in mankind is one leap of faith in humanity, or something like that. I know it's something like that. I get it right. I get it right. I get it right. That's fortune. That's fortune for you, right? Ah, let's close this out really quick, right? Let's close this out really quick. Um, Most people spend their lives wishing they could go back and erase their mistakes. The fortunate ones spend their lives extracting the wisdom from them. Because the real fortune was never inside of the cookie. It was inside the person who was willing to read the message. Mm. Uh, what else is there to be said? What else is there to be said? We've unpacked so much about turning our misfortunes into fortune, owning that message, and really, really studying, learning, and growing, and saying, presently, I am this person. This is who I desire to be, and I'm going to go to the depths of, you know, promising future of success because I am that person to do so. This is what I want. This is who I choose to be. This is who I'm becoming continuously. This is who I'm continuously evolving and becoming every day, putting that work in, learning, growing, being disciplined in my approach, acts of obedience, over sacrifice, actionary, doing the work when no one else is looking, not worried about how I was misfortuned at any particular time of my life. I understand that all it was is redirecting me. When I got stopped, it's just redirection. Those pain points is really pleasure because at the end of the day, I know what I'm going to become from them. From those misfortunes, those mishappenings, I know that what I'm going to make of myself from those things is going to be great. So you may look at it as a misfortune and let your mind conspire to be so. Not for me. My mind is going to beg to differ. And I'm saying, you know what? That right there was a great opportunity for me to become accomplished. Great opportunity for me to become the person that I desire to be. Hey, I went through some pain, some trouble, some hurt. This person took advantage. That person took advantage. The bank took my money. I got this. I went blew the car. I messed up on my payments. Car repoed. I did this, like that. My job just they fired me. They did this. They did that. That person did blah blah. All of it saying, you know what? I'm the one that was involved. And you know, it's a great thing that they let me go because I just grow into another situation that's better than that. It was a great thing that happened to the vehicle and they took my car because I now know what it's like to walk and I'd be able to be conservative and save some money and being able to make wiser decisions in the future. I mean, it was a great thing that was a failed attempt in some of the relationships and friendships because now I know how to love myself and be able to love other people because I was in those other situations I wasn't able to love. So the only thing I was able to do was hurt because I took advantage. So now that I love myself, I don't take advantage of nobody because I love myself enough to tell myself the truth. And I build an ecosystem around me of other trusted advisors and trusted people and trusted loved ones and loyalty. I'm surrounded by those things because I'm the one that give it. I treat myself with the same level of importance. So I'm able to um, give that as well. Hey, that was a wonderful thing where that person over there uh, uh, um, didn't say thank you when I held the door for them. That's okay because now what I know what it's like to do, not looking for the satisfaction of somebody saying thank you. I'm not looking for the thank you. I'm doing it from an act of obedience standpoint. So I'm going to hold the door because that's the type of mannerisms I want to carry out throughout my life. Being a person that's courteous. I want to be a courteous individual, no matter what the other people are dealing with or how they perceive me. Because I'm convincing myself every day by doing it every day. I want to build up the level of habits of doing it no matter what the conditions are. That's what I'm talking about, having that level of ownership. Reading that message within that fortune cookie and say, you know what, this right here is where the real change is going to happen. This is where the real change is going to happen. Man, this is powerful, but I love you guys so much, man. You guys are fun. You guys are really pushing the agenda. You pushing the needle forward because you are assisting each other, assisting us, assisting me in being able to be a better person, be a better individual. You're giving a purpose. You being able to show up for another person else shows your level of discipline and diligence. It shows so much about you and your character. You care about you care about people. You care about yourself. So when you love and care about oneself, you're able to show that level of concern and passion and gratitude towards things outside of oneself. And I think that's one of the biggest blessings, right? When we able to really, really own in and say, you know what, I have autonomy. I can make sound decisions in my own life, and I'm able to show up as such and do that for other people. And I think you guys are profound at it because you do that for me. You give me the confidence to make sure that I need to go out there and continuously be on my path and my journey and keep learning and keep growing because I want to be able to do the same thing for you as well. In some level, some capacity, I want to be able to have offerings. I want to be able to have some level of servitude. I want to be a personnel that you can count on and say, you know what, I respect him or her because I know how they coming. They coming with truth. They coming with loyalty. They coming with respect. They coming with honor, transparency. That those things are meeting at the front door. We come into the front door with those things. And I know this is what we building together as a collective. Because I know in your life, this is what you building. And you have a respect for it and a love for it and a passion for it and a yearning for it. And we all do. So that's why we are synchronized right at the hip. We doing this thing together. We doing this thing together. Man, I love you guys so much. What I say all the time is that beyond that, love yourself even more. Right? Love yourself even more. And never stop when there are things that are thrown in your path. Learn how to redirect. Learn how to pick up that baton and still continue to run and finish the race because you are becoming somebody that somebody else can be for you. You're becoming somebody else that the other people and personnel out in the world they can't be that for you. Only you can be that. Your own uniqueness, your own skill set, your own innate ability. So cherish that, own that, and just have ownership. Have ownership of that. This has been a powerful build. Uh, well, this is dropping Tuesday. Every Tuesday we have the drops. I think noonish. We haven't really set on the exact time, but every Tuesday we drop in these pieces of content. Every Thursday we still going live at 7 p.m. On those other social media platforms. So tap in with us there on the live. So we have two pieces of content, these coming out weekly as of right now. The regular podcast, which is dropping every Tuesday, and the regular pre-recorded lives. Well, the regular pre-recorded lives. The regular pre-recorded on Tuesday, and we shoot and we do the lives live on Thursdays at 7 p.m. So check us out on all those platforms. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Also, if this helps you in any type of way, if you found some type of value in this in some type of form of fashion, give it the thumbs up. If you know somebody else that can benefit from the conversation, and you know what, say, you know what, this I can see this personnel listening to this and they can really, really learn something from this, or they can actually add to this, because that's the main thing. We want to have your input. So if they could come on there and share their light, share their wisdom, share their expertise, we love that even more, because we need the voices of our people to speak about these topics, not just me. I'm talking about it just to start the conversation, but we need your input. We need your intellect. We need your thoughts and your perspective, because that's where the truth is coming out in the comment section, in your thoughts and your perfect in your thoughts and your perspectives and your ideas. So we really, really want to strengthen that, and have everybody just leaving their perspectives right here on the table and connecting with us on all levels and in all facets. So thank you guys so much. Um, Look out for us on all those other platforms. Thumb up the video, share the video if you found any value in this, and share it to someone else that you know that can benefit from it as well. I see you soon on the other platforms. Tuesdays and Thursdays is our drops for new content, and I will see you soon. Never stop. Continue to go out there. Be great. Keep curating. Keep being innovative. Keep approaching life from the perspective of being somebody that's wonderful and great and purposeful. And don't worry about just the emotions being up, down, and indifferent at times. That's okay. That's normal. You are human. But make sure that we just own it and make sure that we are at peace with oneself, accepting oneself, right? Love you guys. Love yourself even more. I will see you soon. Respectfully.